Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. We got a Saturday evening live stream here because I am got the soup mugs I made in the last live stream, and I have 39 handles left to put on. I put one on so I could get the measurement of the handles correctly. So I know we've got the wide angle here. This is looking funky. Let's do this. I've got the one I put a handle on so far, right there. The ones I was telling you that I made in the past, you can see very similar shape, but a little bit shorter and a little bit wider, especially on the bottom. But didn't give it a whole lot of room for the handle. This one I'm hoping gives a little bit more room for the handle. I like the smaller bottom, and so that's what we were going for when I threw them the other day. They may hold a little less, but you can always refill it. So anyway, we've got the table back over here behind me full of soup mugs still. I've had those covered with plastic since the night that I made those, and now we're gonna put handles on them. So yeah, glad you guys can make it. And if you have any questions or comments or whatever, obviously put them in the chat. We're live streaming on YouTube and Rumble simultaneously. Still haven't purchased any upgrade to that to do Facebook, but for now we're just going to stick with that. So anyway, I will grab some soup mugs. I'll move y'all in closer so that you can see. I'm going to be working right in this area over here. I'll put one here as a reference so I can get the angle right. So we got the front camera. Can only get you guys so close and still have room to work. So we're going to do that right about there. Hopefully that will give y'all an angle to look at what I'm doing and still give me room to work. So I have the handle die that I have was a custom made handle die that has this kind of an oval shape that goes to a point on each side, so you can kind of see the handle there has um, kind of like a nice crisp edge, on two sides, but then gets fatter in the middle. Um, I thought I would use these on all, and I did initially on all my mugs without pulling them, or then I also pulled some, but they ended up being a little too thin once I took this and then pulled it. So I have a little bit thicker one now that I use for my regular handles, but for these, I'm not going to be pulling them. I'm just going to be attaching these, and I don't really need them pulled. So I can get a little bit more light in here. There we go. That's more light. So anyway, I think these are all cut about 5.5 inches, and so I'm going to attach these by just taking the bottom of it, get some water on it, and kind of flare it out with my fingers. So that is getting it wet, but also thinning it out, so then I can attach that to the mug. I was doing some other handles earlier, and the height of this was perfect for them. I think for these, it'd be nice if this was a little higher, but so I get them like that, but then I have to kind of hold it in my hand and turn it up this way so that I can reach in here and attach the bottom of that, which you can't really see. Maybe I turn that way. And then I'm going to turn it to the side and look at it to give me the shape that I want. Hi, Scarlett. Welcome. So that's pretty much the shape that I'm looking for. So it's instead of just being a straight shape down here, I like to put that little hip in it right there. That gives a little bit more room for maybe having 2 fingers in there instead of just one, and also gives you a little spot for if you have the 3rd finger underneath the handle. It kind of gives a little support where you can lift up in that area there. So. I think after I finish these 2, I might try to raise this up a little so that I can not have to bend over as much while I'm attaching these. That would be nice. So that's what they look like when I first attach them. Then I just kind of go in and push that kind of pull up on the top of it, and then use my finger inside to kind of push down and put that little hip in the bottom of it there. That one got a little smushed right there, but all right, let's see. I'm gonna back this camera up, see if I can raise my board without messing anything up. Move the water first. All right. Now move those 2 boards back a little bit, so I got some little space. But now I got a little higher spot to work on that. So my video from a couple years ago where I talked about the easiest handle to put on a mug, this is kind of like that easier version of a handle that I talk about in that video, uh, where you don't have to pull it. You just kind of attach it up there, use your thumb as support, bend it down around, and attach the bottom. I do that on these soup mugs for a couple reasons. Number one, it's a lot smaller handle. It's really hard to get into this bottom section to attach the handle. So, and having them attached to the bat still is really nice because then I can pick them up, kind of flip them over and attach. Now, if they weren't attached to the bat, actually I could pick them up and attach that a little easier in a sort of way. But having it here, I can just hold the bat and then do that. So that's kind of nice. But I won't be doing thumb grips on any of these either. They'll just stay like that. Mel, I do pull my handles, but I don't pull from the pot. I know a lot of potters really dislike any other handles that are used. What's your opinion on that? I think if the handle looks good and feels good, it ought to be good enough. I'm not a. I've seen them done so many different ways, and I think uh, form and function have way more weight in my book than how you got there. So if you extruded the handle and it looks good and it feels good in your hand, I don't know why people complain about stuff like that. It's the same as like having a trimmed foot on a pot. It's like, okay, well, does it look good and does it work well? And if it does, why do you care if somebody trimmed a foot or did not trim a foot on the bottom of the pot? But people have their ways in everything. And usually the way they do it or the way they were taught is the right way, and other people's way is not the right way. Not everybody, I'm just saying. It's the way the people that are like that, that's the way they usually go about it. My main goal is I don't want that handle going above the rim of the pot, because then if you go to stack these, I don't want them breaking off. Hey, Brad, yes, you finally made it back. Welcome. Uh, Mel, I totally agree, though, that I love a pulled handle. I would prefer a pulled handle. I even thought about taking these and putting a little groove down the middle of them because they would look a little bit better. Um, then I was like thinking about all the time it would take me to do that versus doing this, and would that really add that much value to these pieces when I'm kind of on a deadline? And I said, no, I don't think that somebody's going to look at this pot and go, well, if he'd have put a groove in that handle, I'd buy it, but I just can't. I can't handle that handle, so I'm not going to buy it. So sometimes compromises have to be made, and not sometimes, all the time. Just depends on which ones you're willing to compromise on and which ones you're not. Trying to clear out some space on my table. I'll start putting them back over there once I get a spot cleared, but the table is completely full, so I had to having to take them from here and set them other places until I free up some space. Nice and neat, no cracks. That's a good handle for me. There you go, Scarlett. I knew that question was coming, Sean. All right, sorry, but just curious. So you don't slip and score. Do you ever have problems with cracking? It's a very interesting technique you're using. Yeah, I'll be right back. So the handles that I put on that I pull from the mug, I don't score, but I do slip. Um, it all depends on really the stiffness of the pot and the handles. Um, if they're close enough in stiffness, and I'm adding that water to it while I'm pulling it, that's really similar to adding slip, because most handles you wouldn't have them very wet in the spot where you're going to attach it. But by kind of like adding the water and kind of working the clay out, I'm that water's soaking in, and it's wet when I'm going to put this on. I'm also putting a little bit of water on the pot right where I do that. I'm essentially creating slip in a roundabout way by doing that, and then I'm smoothing that in And so that water between the two is going to basically kind of create some slip. And then I add a little bit of water to the inside of the handle before I tuck it under. The top of these are getting a little stiff, but the bottoms are still fairly soft. So the softness at the bottom is going to help those two bond, even though I haven't like smoothed it out as much as I did the top. Now there are certain clays that would give you a harder time attaching a handle like that without scoring and slipping. So that really has to do with, well, a lot of things. The type of clay you're using, if it can handle that, the atmosphere in your work studio, if it's really dry, like not humid at all, if it's, or if you have fans or dehumidifiers running or a wood stove, or just if it's wintertime and you've got the heat on. There's all kinds of factors. Even the air conditioner running in here can dry out things faster than normal. So there's a lot of factors. I will put all these back under plastic overnight just to kind of slow down the drying process. I probably wouldn't have to, but there are just to me, it's very similar to the question that Mel asked about, is there a right way or what's your preference on doing handles? Some people say you have to do it a certain way. I think attaching them using slip and scoring is also one of those things. There are some rules in, just like in everything, there are some rules and some that can be broken. And sometimes you'll try to bend them or break them, and it'll come back to bite you. So it all depends on how much you're willing to risk and what you can find out. And obviously being familiar with your material gives you the best experience and the best know-how of what you can get away with. Because there's probably somebody else that could come along using the same clay I am and try to do it the same way, and their handles will crack. But that just comes from the experience of like me knowing, okay, well, I need to add a little more water, or I need to dry them a little slower, or whatever, and then they'll come out fine. But somebody else might try it and it might not work. Yeah, Sean, you're welcome. I've hey, thanks, Brad. I appreciate it. My goal is to get, like I said, get a handle that looks well with the piece, but also functions well. And this style of handle gives you a bit more room inside the handle with the short height of the pot than if I were to attach it here and pull it straight out and down. So by going up and then back down, it kind of creates more space inside the handle than the other style of handle I make, which is another reason I use this handle versus my other one on these soup mugs. Sorry if you can't see everything I'm doing. It's like when I thought about doing this live stream, I thought, man, I don't know how people are going to see most of what I'm doing, uh, just because of the orientation of having to move the pots around and put the handle on and shape the handle and all that. So here in a couple pots, maybe we'll move the move the camera to the other side, and you guys maybe can catch a glimpse of the other side of what I'm doing on that side. Mel, I know that Sean pulls a lovely handle on his pots. Oh, y'all know each other, huh? Or at least know of his work, maybe? Yeah, I pulled some handles earlier today. I'm making some mugs for my dad to take to his family reunion, and so I did these mugs, which I attached and then pulled from the mug, and these have a stamp that I had made for Kelly family in there, and so that's my normal mug handle, and so and I normally do that button at the bottom of my handles as well. I can't get in there under these to put the button, the kind of the stamp on there, but. Oh, Sean, you have a YouTube channel. Awesome. I should check that out at some point. How long have you been making pots, Sean? And how long have you had your YouTube channel? I love when I jam my finger right into the side of the handle, but it's okay. I fixed it. Okay, maybe Sean left. He walked away. He had to go make some pots. No, I don't know. I'll check them out later. I'll have to remember that. Oh man, I smushed that one a little bit somehow. All right, let's see. I might be able to move y'all to the other side. Oh, I know I can. See if you can see on this side. Everything I'm doing. The light's not behind it over here, but should be able to see. Or I can just move the light, yeah. So that's what I'm going for with these. Just thinning it out, getting it wet. I don't want the handle to like hit the rim. I don't want it to kind of hit that and start to attach or leave a mark on the rim on the handle from the rim. So I kind of hold it down a little bit. And then I put my finger up underneath there to bend it. Wet that, and I try to line it up so that it's straight in line with itself. I think I messed up the last one by pushing it against my stomach when I was holding it like this. So there's that. And then if y'all can see that, I'll just kind of go boop, push down with my finger right inside there. And then I kind of make sure that's pushed in tight right up there. Try not to hit my knuckle on the handle like I did just then. And then I look at it again from the top to make sure it's kind of like lined up with the center. I love an ear shape for a handle, the same as you're doing on your soup balls. Yeah, that's it's definitely not new. I know even I have a mug inside the house that was from Seagrove Pottery, Dorothy and Walter Allman from many years ago, before I was even making pots, and it has one of the most comfortable handles on it, and it is that kind of shape. Kind of goes up, comes down, and has this little sharp cut in at the base of it. But it's like a perfect little spot for your pinky or your third finger, whichever, depending on how big your hand is. The last finger fits really good right underneath that little jut in at the bottom. I'll tell y'all something kind of crazy. I checked today. I know I mentioned to y'all like 2 days ago, the workshop might have been more than 2 days ago, but I think it was in that one that I announced that it was available. There was 9 spots left. Well, I checked this morning and it was either this morning or this earlier, just sometime earlier today. I checked and it was all sold out. I was like, wow. So there's still tickets available for the Saturday demo only ticket, like so you could come watch the demo. But as far as the 2-day and then the hands-on session, the Sunday is all sold out. And so I was pleasantly surprised to see that. And I thought, well, I guess we'll have to do another one. Not at the same time, obviously, or probably not anytime real soon after that, but it'll be it's a good reason to go back and do another one. So if you got a ticket, you're in, and if not, next time. Unless you just want to come to the Saturday demo only session, which obviously is cheaper, but oh, buddy, yeah, you are you are lucky to have snagged a workshop spot. You're right, because they are gone. I am working on details for another workshop next year. But I'm not sure if it's going to be open to the public. Um, a art center in Lynchburg, Virginia, has reached out to me about doing a workshop, and so that's going to be also be a 2-day workshop. But I have no idea yet if it's going to be when it's going to be and if it's going to be open to the public. I didn't grab more bowls while I was over there. I just came back over here to talk. So when I get those details ironed out, I will let everybody know if it is open to the public. Obviously, I will let everybody know and they can sign up if it is. And I'll be continuing to work on other workshop opportunities. So hey, Sean, thanks. Glad you could be here, and I'll try to pay a visit over to your YouTube channel and check out what you got going on. Mel, that's brilliant news, Matthew. I'm signing off now as I'm here in the UK, and it's 12:15 a.m. Well, Mel, thanks for being here. Uh, appreciate you being here, and I hope you enjoyed it. But yeah, have a good night. So I will say that if there is anyone out there talking about workshops, if there's anyone out there that has a location where you book workshops and you're interested in having me come, definitely send me some kind of message, email, or message. Uh, all my information is on my website, and we'll see what we can work out. Obviously, the farther away from home it is, the more difficult all those logistics become, but we'll see what we can work out. So you can see I kind of just take that, I kind of hold my hand here on the outside, and I'm going to kind of squeeze in while I push down. That creates that little straighter part on the back and the little undercut, and make sure this is attached good up here. And then I got to look at it from above, like I said, to make sure that it kind of lines up with the center of the bowl. So where else is everybody from that's in here watching right now? I know we just had a UK. Carrie's in New Hampshire. Well, welcome. I hope it's not as warm there as it is here. This week's going to be kind of a brutal one here in North Carolina. I was out doing some yard work this morning at like 8:30, and it was already, I think the temperature was 80, over 80 degrees, 85, but the real feel was already like 96 at like 9 or 10 o'clock this morning. It was crazy. It was, yeah, I think at 8:30 it was already like 80 degrees. Real feel I didn't look at, but by 10 o'clock I looked at the real feel. It was already 96. So that was crazy. Brad's in Missouri. Earth, Fire, and Clay, Windmere, Florida. All right. I know it's hot in Florida, or I'm sure it is. If it's that warm here, I'm sure Florida's baking. I really shouldn't complain because, I mean, I don't live in the Southwest in the desert where it's like, 85 would be a nice temperature. But yeah, this week here it's supposed to be like 95 to 96 is the high every day with no real rain in sight. So I don't know. Just gotta keep all my garden watered so all my plants don't die and my vegetables, which is what I'll be doing pretty much as soon as this stream's over. I'll go up and water my garden, let my chickens out. It feels like 102. Yeah, it was 102 there in Missouri, Brad. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Sharon in Erie, Pennsylvania was 80s today and humid. Yeah, well, Erie's right on the lake, right? I don't know if it's always humid there because of that, but I know that I know that's right on the lake. And I'm sure 80s is, it's not unnormal or abnormal, but studio was 90. Oh, jeez. That's, no. Yeah, there's a reason you hear my air conditioner running in the background. I, yeah. I wouldn't say I wouldn't be out here working if I didn't have AC, but it'd be a lot harder to make that decision days like today. Yeah, I could have had 2 or 3 showers today, but I finished my yard work this morning, took a shower, and then uh, could have taken another one midday, but I just cooled off and got back to work here in the shop. So I was out back to work on some slab stuff that I was working on. Yeah, good thing I got my desk completely demolished and removed a few days ago. I thought it was hot earlier this morning. I walked out and went right back in. Yeah, Brad, that's I felt like doing that this morning. No AC in your studio. I'm making weight bags for my flat pieces. Oh, Carrie. Woo. Okay, well, at least you're in New Hampshire. I'm hoping it's not as hot there, but I'm sure even if it's not as hot there as it is here, it feels like it if you're used to New Hampshire weather. So, what do you, Carrie? What are you making, using to make your weight bags? And is it flat slab stuff or flat thrown stuff? T-shirts and kitty litter. I hear you. I got a funny story for you. I did that one test soup mug earlier to get the length of the handle I needed, so then I could just extrude all the ones I needed and cut them all at one time. And I went out and extruded like half the handles, came back in, got some more clay, and I had went back out. I took a round pug and I squared it up because my extruder is square, so I needed to square it up so it would fit in the extruder. And uh, came back in and went over to check on the mug that I had done, and the handle like fell off. I'm like, what in the world? What? How did that handle just fall off? And I brought it over here. I put a new handle on it, and I was like, that is so strange. And then I realized that when I came in to get the clay to refill my extruder, I had set the mug I was working on that table, and then I slammed the square and the pug on the same table where my pot was sitting with the fresh handle on it. And so I realized that I had slammed that clay down on the table, and it was shaking the pot and knocked the handle off the pot. But I was really confused. I'm like, I know, I'm like, I'm not an expert necessarily at everything to do with pottery, but I know that handle shouldn't have fallen off. I know what I'm doing when it comes to putting a handle on. So, uh, really had me going for a second. It's like somebody was playing a practical joke on me. Both slab and throne depends on the day. Gotcha. I had lots of options of things that I was thinking about live streaming today, and I was thinking about yesterday. I was gonna live stream yesterday. I had so many things come up that I changed plans, and then about the time that I thought, oh, I could probably live stream now, we had a power outage for almost an hour, and so during that, sat inside with my with Danielle and my youngest son, and he's been the only one home this week until today. The other two were gone, so we sat inside and played a couple games of Uno, and then the power came back on. So came out here and worked, but I didn't live stream by that point. So, but I have some pictures I threw last night down here that are going to need handles probably later tonight or tomorrow. I have the obviously I worked on the mugs earlier that I showed you that were for the Kelly family mugs for my dad to take to the reunion. Had those to work on. Um, I have slip work to do on the large jars that I threw. The two live streams I did for throwing the jar and then trimming the lids for those. I got slip work to do on those. I thought that would make a good live stream. Um, so I had several things to work on and several things I could have done on a live stream yesterday, but it just didn't work out. And you're sure Macy didn't come in and played a trick on you? Yeah, Brad, I really thought, I'm like, somebody's playing a practical joke on me. I was like, I mean, I literally thought it just fell off, and I thought, that's it's just really strange. I'm like, it's possible, but I'm like, it was just so. I have a large cat who walks through my studio. My pieces have random cat paw prints in them. Yeah, I the first studio I worked at had some cats that would walk around the shop, and you'd make some stuff, and you'd come back the next day, and there was paw prints in it where you'd walked across a set of boards and just walk right through the pots. So, yeah, I'm familiar with that. Not my work now, but yeah, back then. That only 12 more to go here. Knocking them out. So it looks like there's some new people here. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. We're just putting some handles on some mugs. We talked about the style of handle I'm doing, why I'm doing them this way earlier, all kinds of things. So if you missed any of that and you're curious about any of it, just don't hesitate to ask. Or even if it's not related to what we're making now, I don't mind the conversation. There's another fingernail right into the side of the handle. Maybe when we finish, I can, if I can keep internet, we finish the mugs, I'll take y'all out and show you my chicken coop as I let the chickens out. We'll see what we can do with that. How much liquid will your bowls hold when they are done? Carrie, I'm not sure. I actually don't even know with the previous size or shape, but I changed the shape a little bit. So even if I did know from the previous size, I wouldn't on these. Um, I could definitely measure one of my older ones and see. I know a lot of my mugs, what they'll hold, but like coffee mugs, but soup mugs, I've never measured. Sharon, your favorite video was of me making face jugs. Well, I appreciate that. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I don't look at my YouTube statistics a lot, but I did look just the other day to see just kind of like the popular videos. And I can tell you that the most popular video that I have, at least most watched video right now, is the um, how to throw a wide shallow bowl. That has become the most viewed video. Well, not most viewed. I still think most viewed. I was actually looking at the video that earned me the most revenue. That's what I was looking at. So, kind of that also usually translates to most views. Um, but I have an older video before I monetized my channel that has more views, but I didn't earn as much from it, so because it wasn't monetized. And views don't always directly correlate to revenue on YouTube. It really depends how long somebody watches. So that also changes things. So the coffee mug that you have, Brad, of mine, it holds 11 ounces comfortably. Yeah, most of my mugs hold somewhere between 11, and the larger ones hold upwards of 18 to 20 ounces for like the even a regular 1 pound mug, but just a certain shape. There's a couple shapes that I have that just hold a lot of liquid. And then I have my Steins as well. Ah! That one's a little drier than the rest of them. One down. Anybody want a mug? A soup bowl? It looks good on that side. Look at that. Beautiful. Alrighty. See, if you weren't here for the live stream, you wouldn't have seen that. Most people that even click on this live stream aren't going to get far enough in to even see that happen. You were here to see me ruin a pot. Oh no! Oh boy. Those jugs inspired me to learn how to make just regular jugs. Well, good, Earth, Fire, and Clay. I appreciate that. I'm glad, and I hope making jugs is going well for you. Definitely need to be paying attention to these. That one looks like it's stuck really well. I also don't have to hold it as vertically as I was, but I was doing that to show you all how I was attaching the bottom. So I can blame that on you all. The reason I dropped that bowl is because you guys were here watching. I was trying to let you see what I was doing, but I had to go and ruin it. Only got 6 more. Couldn't hold it together. Kintsugi mug. Yeah. Oh boy. Struggle, but hopefully we'll get there. Keep watching you how you do it. Well, good. Okay. Yeah, it's wild. The what I was actually even just talking to a guy that was here helping me today. Or actually, I can't remember if it was that conversation with him or another conversation, but I was talking to someone about instruction, and I said it's there's so much you can learn on YouTube, but I mean I've said this a lot of times, but like one thing that you can't get on YouTube is you can't stop me in the middle of making a pot and say, wait a minute, what'd you do right there? And I also can't watch you make a pot and then stop you and go, wait a minute, hey, try this. And so that's one of those areas where personal one-on-one instruction just is invaluable, irreplaceable, however you want to say it or look at it. Got a couple of drier ones here as well. This one already came off the bat, and I had to actually like dunk it some water a couple times. It's funny where they were sitting on the table. These were actually the last ones I made, so they technically should have been the most damp, but just where it's sitting must have had a draft or something. They were all covered with plastic, but this one dried to the point that it popped off the bat, and I had to kind of like dunk it in some water. So actually, I'm going to handle this one first. I'm going to put some I might put a little bit of vinegar on that one on the right there. Just trying to see if that one's going to stay on the bat or not, but I'll just hold it like this. We got a little cup of, oh geez, getting vinegar everywhere. A little cup of vinegar there that I can use to help soften the clay. I'm going to put a little bit of vinegar down in the cracks of this one because I noticed it was a little drier as well. But this one I'm actually going to brush on some vinegar there and down at the base. So if they were not attached to the bat, then I could hold them like this. It would actually be much easier to attach the bottom, but obviously if they're not attached to the bat, either I have cut them off already or they've gotten dry like this one, and then you've got other issues with them being too dry to put the handles on, all that stuff. So just putting a little drop of vinegar again down in that crack. Like I said, I'm going to cover these as well, all of them, when I finish, so that they'll dry at least for the night covered. These two are pretty stiff as well, so I'm going to just add a little vinegar. Where I'm going to put the handle. Put a little dab of vinegar again down in these spots just to help it attach a little better. Make sure. All right, let's see. All right, they didn't all fit on that table. I got 3 that don't fit over there. I'm gonna wrap them up separately. But let's see. I'm gonna try to connect you guys to my phone's Wi-Fi, so I can take my iPad out there as I go to. Let's see. Settings. Oh, all right, good. We're back. Let me know when you're back. Make sure that you guys. Make sure you guys can hear me. Get the iPad out of here. Oh, so there's the 3 that didn't fit. And then I've got this table over here with all of the other ones. There we are. Yes. Switch it on. All right, I had to turn this back camera all backwards. So we finished 40 of those. I have the jars, some slip decoration on those. I've got the pictures I made last night on the bottom of that rack. And now I'll bring you all along. We can go see the chickens and let them out for the evening. See, they're waiting on me. They know it's about that time. Yeah, they love it. Getting to come out and run around the yard for a little bit. eat a bunch of bugs and grass and all that good stuff. I guess she hasn't decided she wants to come out yet. So anyway, yeah, the chicken coop that I built earlier, I'm going to show this in a video eventually, but you can lower this side down right here and get to the eggs, and then that side part there can go in and to clean it out. Yeah, they're expecting me to give them something. I don't have anything for you. You want to say hi? You want to say hi? Oh, don't eat my iPad. Okay. Anyway, in the vegetable garden, tomatoes and squash and cucumbers and some watermelon and cantaloupe. I already got my first cantaloupe and we ate that, or in the process of eating that. So, oh, there they go. So anyhow, all right. So appreciate you all being here for a live stream. If you have any more questions or comments, or like I said, I mentioned the last couple live streams that I had that workshop scheduled in Florida, but that one, like I said, is now sold out other than the Saturday only for the demo. And you can still sign up for that if you want. And I'm working on a couple others, but and also if you have a studio that you're at that you know might want to bring somebody in for a workshop, I'm starting to work on more plans for things like that. So anyway, thank you guys. Any more questions or comments before we go? If not, we'll sign off and next time. But appreciate all the support from everybody on all the different ways possible. So appreciate y'all being here, hanging out with me while I put some handles on. Hopefully you learned something. Good. Earth, fire, and clay. Yeah, the vinegar definitely helps. Just be careful using it. Don't use too much, but it definitely can work. Vinegar, in extreme circumstances, you can use paper clay, all kinds of stuff. But and also lots of people make magic water, which I think is like sodium silicate and water mixture. But stay out of the heat and feed the squirrels. Yeah, I got a my water pail. You saw the little chick watering thing sitting in there. That's because the big pail, the handle broke on it, and I had to put that in there for like a night so that they'd have some water, and then fix the other pail. So anyway, but all right, yeah, I don't know if I'll live stream tomorrow or not, but if I do, it'll be in the evening if I do, but it probably will be Monday before I live stream again. But anyway, as always, thank you guys for your support and being here. And if you need anything, you know how to get a hold of me. Send me an email or a message on Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. That's the best way to reach out to me. Or just comments on YouTube videos. I see those as well. But anyway, all right. We'll see you guys soon. Appreciate everything. Love you. See you.